Hello, guys. This is Mrs. Klein.
Hello, this is Miss Burkles.
You guys, we are here with your Lesson 18 podcast. The title of this lesson is The Cultural Legacy of West Africa. As always, we have a guiding question, and this time it is:
In what ways do the cultural achievements of West Africa influence our culture today?
all right, there are a whole heck of a lot of vocabulary terms, you guys. They are applique, call and response, folktale, genealogy, griot, kente, oral tradition, and terracotta.
All right, for our introduction, the medieval cultures of West Africa are diverse and have a rich legacy. Much of West African culture has been passed down through its oral traditions. Think for a moment of the oral traditions in your own culture. When you were younger, did you learn nursery rhymes from your family or friends?
You can probably think of many ideas that were passed down orally from one generation to the next. In parts of West Africa, there are people whose job it is to preserve oral traditions and history in this way. They are talented poet musicians. For many centuries, they have helped to preserve West Africa's history and cultural legacy.
In this lesson, you will learn about the role of both oral traditions and written traditions in West Africa. You will also explore West African music and visual arts. Along the way, you will see how the cultural achievements of West Africans continue to influence our world.
All right, you guys, section 1, West African oral and written traditions. All right, griots, record keepers of the people. A griot is a verbal artist of the Mandi people. Griots are poet musicians who tell stories, sing songs of praise, and recite poems, often while playing a drum or a stringed instrument.
They also educate their audience with historical accounts and genealogies or histories of people's ancestry.
Long before the Mandi had written histories, griots preserved the memory of the past. Every village had its own griot who memorized all the important events that occurred there.
The most cherished information in griot history is the story of Sundiata. Wait, how do you say it?
Sundiata or Sundiata.
Um, Sundiata Keita. Sundiata was the king who founded Mali's empire in the 13th century.
All right, West Africans' oral tradition also includes hundreds of old stories called folk tales. West Africans used folk tales to pass along their history and to teach young people morals and values.
West African oral tradition includes proverbs or popular sayings. Proverbs are found in all cultures. West African proverbs use images from everyday life to express ideas or give advice and reveal a great deal about the wisdom and values of West Africans.
All right, now a little bit about written tradition. After Islam spread to West Africa, written tradition became more important. Muslims published many works in Arabic.
Section 2, West African music. Music has always been an important aspect of life in West Africa and serves many functions in West African society. It communicates ideas, values, and feelings. It celebrates historic events and important occasions in people's lives.
The musical traditions of West Africa continue to influence both African and world culture. In a common West African style of music known as call and response, a leader plays or sings a short phrase referred to as a call. Then a group of people, the chorus, answer by playing or singing a short phrase, which is the response.
This African tradition has influenced many American musical styles, including gospel, jazz, blues, rock and roll, and rap.
Musical instruments.
Traditional musical instruments in West Africa include three that griots have used for centuries. They are called the balafon, the ngoni, and the kora.
The balafon probably was the original griot instrument. Like a xylophone or a marimba, a balafon is made of wood, wood bats that are laid across a frame.
The ngoni is a small stringed instrument made of hollowed out wood carved in a shape similar to a canoe.
The kora is a harp-like instrument with 21 strings. The body of the kora is made of a gourd that has been cut in half and covered with cowhide.
Drumming. Drums play a significant role in West African culture. Drummers in West Africa play in ensembles or groups, which include different types and different sizes of drums, along with bells and rattles.
West African slaves brought their drumming traditions to America. Okay, and now a little bit about dance. In West Africa, dance is as much a part of life as singing and drumming are. West Africans perform dances for all kinds of occasions, including rituals and ceremonies that commemorate important events in people's lives.
Dance movements often reflect the conditions people live in. Some dancers wear elaborate masks that represent the spirits of the traditional West African religion.
All right, moving on to West African visual arts. West African culture includes many forms of visual art. The West Africans of ancient and medieval times used religious sculptures to call upon the spirits to help them in every phase of life. They also used sculptures to honor their leaders.
The oldest examples come from the Nok culture, which made terracotta sculptures of human figures. The um, the Yoruba people of Ife, Nigeria, also made sculptures of terracotta. Later, they used bronze and copper.
All right, a little bit about masks. Wooden masks have been a part of West African life for centuries. Like sculptures, they were used to bring the spirits of gods and ancestors into the present. Because West African masks are detailed and expressive, they have inspired a number of artists around the world.
Textiles. West Africans have a long tradition of making textiles that are both beautiful and symbolic. Three well known types of West African textiles are stamped fabrics, story fabrics, and a particular colorful kind called kente cloth.
West Africans create stamped fabric by drawing a grid on a piece of cloth using a thick dye.
Story fabrics depict events. Some West Africans make story fabrics using a technique called applique, in which smaller pieces of fabric are attached to a larger background piece to form designs or pictures.
All right, kente cloth is a famous West African textile created by sewing together narrow strips of silk or other fabrics. The designs of kente cloth have symbolic meanings that reflect the artist's life or family history, values and beliefs, or political or social circumstances.
Everyday objects. West African visual arts also include the design and decoration of everyday objects. In many parts of West Africa, baskets are made using the coil method. Enslaved West Africans brought their basket making tradition to America and taught it to their descendants.
All right, you guys, in the summary now, where in this lesson you explored the cultural legacy of West Africa. You learned about written and oral traditions, music and visual arts. The cultural achievements of West Africans are still influential today.
Oral and written traditions. Storytellers called griots help to preserve the history and culture of West Africa. Folk tales and proverbs are also part of West Africa's rich oral tradition. In medieval times, Muslim scholars added a body of Arabic writings to this heritage, which were preserved in Quranic schools and mosques. Modern writers incorporate many elements from West African oral traditions in their novels and other works.
All right, music. Important features of West African music include call and response, traditional instruments, drumming, and dance. West African influences are still heard in world music.
Visual arts. Visual arts include sculptures, masks, textiles, and the design of everyday objects. West African sculpture and mask making particularly influenced many modern artists, one of whom was Pablo Picasso. Kente cloth is still worn today, and its influence can be seen in fashions around the world.
All right, you guys, so now we are done with lesson 18. You should have a handle on being able to answer that guiding question. In what ways do the cultural achievements of West Africa influence our culture today? And don't forget all of those vocabulary terms.
Applique, call and response, folktale, genealogy, griot, kente, oral tradition, and terracotta.
All right, you guys, adios.
Have a good one.